Hello, Year 5. Nice to see you. Well, I can't see you, but you can see me. We are already missing you, but glad that we can teach you in this way at least. We hope that you're all well. We're looking forward to hearing from you and seeing some of the work that you've been doing and hearing what you've been up to. But well done for tuning in. And we're going to do some exciting work this term. So for English this term, we're going to be focusing on explanation text, which is I'm really pleased about because you have done explanation text before in every year group that you've been in before. So this isn't brand new to you. You will learn some new stuff as we go along, and you're going to have lots of revision on what you've done with explanation text before. And you'll have the opportunity to do some research as well so that you can write some explanation text. So today's going to be your cold task. I'm just going to share my screen with you so that you can see the slides. Okay. Right. Okay. So our goal today is to be able to write an explanation text. And you have done this before. I want you to have a think back. I'm going to give you some examples of explanation texts. You today are going to be writing an explanation text of how the water cycle works. There are also explanation texts of how the human life cycle works. You can get an explanation text about how a TV works, an explanation text on how snowflakes are formed. What do you remember about what an explanation text is? Is it fiction or is it non-fiction? Is it factual or is it a story? What sort of things would you expect to see in an explanation text when it comes to language and structure and the types of vocabulary that are used? And what sorts of things would you not expect to see in an explanation text? I want you to just pause the video and either have a think about it yourself and just jot some things down on a piece of paper, or I want you to chat to somebody who's in the room with you about what you would expect to find in an explanation text and what you would expect not to find in an explanation text. So just pause it now. Okay, so hopefully what you said, I'm not going to give you too much information because I want to see what you remember in the work that you do today. I will teach you a lot more about what to find in an explanation text in the lessons that follow, but today's lesson is about you having a go and us being able to see what you remember, okay, so that we can help you from the point at which you are at now. Okay, so hopefully what you have said is that an explanation text is a non-fiction text. That means it is factual. That means it contains facts. It's about real things. It's not a fiction. You wouldn't expect to see the words once upon a time. It would be about something that is real or something that was real in the past. Okay. So based on that, we're just going to have a little starter to do with structure. And Greg, who's in the corner just here from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, he says that you could use the information in these 5 bullet points to write one paragraph. He thinks that if you were to use all the information that's in these 5 points, they could easily fit together in one paragraph. Okay, he's taken some notes on some research that he's been doing. He's written some bullet points and he thinks, yeah, all of those bullet points, when I come to write my explanation text, they can all go into one paragraph. Let's just have a look at what those bullet points are. It says, a giraffe's neck is too long to be able to reach the ground easily. Giraffes only need to drink water once every few days. Giraffes get most of their water from the plants that they eat. The age of a giraffe can be calculated from its spots. The darker the spots, the older it is. Do you think that all of those bullet points would fit really well into one paragraph? If you think yes, they would, I want you to talk to somebody in the house with you, or just jot it down on a piece of paper or make a note of it in your head. But I do want you to pause this video and actually have a think about it and come up with an answer. Do you think that they would fit in the same paragraph? Yes or no? And why? Convince me. Convince me either that, yeah, they should all fit into the same paragraph, or that they shouldn't. So pause it now, have a think and a chat with whoever is nearby. And then once you've had a chat, press play again. Okay. What you should have said was that no, they cannot all fit together in one paragraph, because there's basically that it can be divided into two separate paragraphs. The first paragraph would be about the giraffe getting water. The second paragraph would be about the age of the giraffe and the spots on the giraffe. Have a look at the first 3 bullet points. They're all about the giraffe's ability to be able to drink water. And the fact that it's talking about the giraffe's neck is too long to be able to reach the ground easily, that's to do with it not being able to drink water from the ground. And thankfully, they only need water once every few days. And actually, that's the reason why they get their water from the plants that they eat rather than getting it from the ground. All of that would be in one paragraph because all of the information is very closely tied into each other. The second paragraph would be to do with the age of a giraffe and about the spots on the giraffe and how the spots tell the age of a giraffe. So there's your answer for that one. Okay, so what you should have learned from that is that paragraphs need to be divided, and the way that you divide paragraphs when it comes to non-fiction text is the information that is related to each other and ties into each other, all goes in one paragraph. And you start a new paragraph when you start talking about a different thing. Okay, and that should help you in your cold task today. Okay, I'm not sure if you were in school last year when year 4 would have learned about the water cycle. I'm hoping that you were. I am also banking on the fact that there is a large possibility that you were not in school because of lockdown and things, and that this wasn't taught to you last year in year 4. And so I'm going to give you some information about the water cycle, because I think that'd be helpful. And you're also welcome to do just a bit of research on the internet on what the water cycle is. Have a go, first of all. In fact, before I give you a bit of information, I want you to just have a go to pausing the video so you can see the picture, the diagram that's on there. I want you to have a go at trying to explain how the water cycle works. And I want you to make sure in your explanation, you're just talking this, you're not writing anything down. In your explanation, you may talk it to the screen if there's nobody around you to be able to talk to. And I want you to make sure that you use that vocabulary that's on there as well. Okay, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the water cycle, just in case there's anything you've missed. So pause the video, you have a go, and then I'll tell you a bit more. Okay, it is a water cycle. A cycle is something that goes round and round. It's never ending. And so really, you have to think of the most logical place to start. What would be the most logical place to start? I think I will start with collection, okay? So water that falls from the sky is collected in rivers, in lakes, underneath the ground, and in the sea. It collects there. While the water is in these collection places, the sun shines down on it and heats the water up. It heats it. The heating of the water causes the water to change from liquid into gas or vapor. And this evaporates. It rises into the air, and it rises. As it rises, that is called evaporation. As it turns into water vapor, and it rises into the air. As it rises, that water vapor starts to cool. And as it cools, it turns back into liquid. This is called condensation. Okay, and condensation is when the water changes from a gas, from water vapor, into a liquid again, which is suspended in the air in clouds. Okay, and so that's condensation. Precipitation, when the clouds are when there is so much water in the air, so many water droplets are vibrating against each other, and the clouds start to get grayer and grey and get dark. The water that is in the air then falls back down to the earth as precipitation. And the reason it doesn't say rain is because precipitation actually is any water that falls from the sky down to the earth. And that can be rain. It can be snow, which is what we were very, very blessed to have last week or the week before, last week, I think. Rain or snow or hail or sleet. And sleet is a mixture of rain and snow. Okay, so that all of that falls under the heading of precipitation. It falls back down to the earth, which then runs into rivers, lakes, and seas and sinks into the ground, into collection, and the whole cycle starts over again. Okay, so that's what the water cycle is. And you can probably get a little bit more information on it if you do some research on the internet and just read up on what it is. Okay, right, this is what you're going to do today. Okay, this is your cold task. This should not take you more than half an hour to do. Just a reminder, your cold task is there for you to have a go at writing an explanation text based on all the work that you've done on explanation text in the years before. It's a reminder for you as to what it is. And it also will show you and us that the areas of this learning that you need extra challenge on because you're doing really well with, and actually areas which you need a bit of support on as well. We think, oh, you've forgotten this, and we need to give you some extra teaching and extra support. Okay, so this is your chance really to show us what you remember, show us what you know. Don't worry too much about it, because we'll use this to be able to help us plan for the lessons that are coming up so that we can help you to the best of our ability as to where you are now. So your cold task today is to explain. You're going to write an explanation text. Explain how the water cycle works and why the water cycle is important. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to write an explanation text of how the water cycle works and why it is important. Okay, this is how I would like your work laid out in your book. Okay, so you're going to write your date at the top, Wednesday, the 6th of January, 2021. And then just like we do in school, you're going to miss a line and you're going to write the WALT. The WALT is to write an explanation text or an explanation of the water cycle. And I've been very kind to you because I've told you that you're going to need a title, and I've actually given you what your title is, the water cycle. Okay, so that's your job for today. You've got, it shouldn't take you more than half an hour for you to write this explanation text in really nice, neat handwriting. Couple of things that you need to remember. After every couple of sentences, you must stop, you must check over your work, and you must edit it to improve it and to make sure it makes sense. That is really, really important, okay? Please do not forget, all sentences start with capital letters and all sentences end with a full stop or a question mark if that's appropriate, or an exclamation mark if that's appropriate, okay? But they need to end in one of those ways. You need to be checking your spellings. If you don't have a dictionary at home, use your computer or phone. There are dictionaries online that you can check your spellings with. But I want you to make sure that is one of the criteria for year 5, is for you to take ownership of that and to stop yourself after every couple of sentences, read your work back and edit it to improve it, okay? And checking spellings and making sure it actually makes sense. And often I find that when you read it out loud, you'll be able to spot the places where it stopped making sense. Make sure that it is all written in the same tense as well, please, that you're not swapping between past tense and present tense. Okay, so there's some tips for you. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some photographs of your work and seeing what you have produced from this. I will see you tomorrow.